Trump is obviously, again, using his position as president to put pressure on these media companies. And I think a lot of them are capitulating and feeling that pressure because they have things and business deals and things on the side that they want to happen, that they want to do. And so to me, the disappointing part is that when you capitulate a little, as we've seen with this particular person, it does not matter. He doesn't care if you capitulate. If you give him what he wants, he's not going to stop asking for it. To me, it's just a simple thing of ratings. It's like, do the ratings support that you should stop talking about Donald Trump? Probably not. So if you are Bob Iger, who I do have a lot of respect for, he was my former boss, if you're him, that's the only thing that should matter.
First of all, why in the hell is CNN referring to Jemele Hill as a contributing writer at The Atlantic? It's almost the equivalent to ESPN referring to Mina Kimes as an NFL analyst. Now, in the defense of Mina Kimes, at least she tries to contribute. Obviously, her contributions aren't based on experience because the only way Mina Kimes experiences an NFL game is if she buys a ticket to it. But somehow at ESPN, that qualifies her to analyze the league. But at least Mina Kimes contributes. I am struggling to understand how Smelly Jemele is a contributing writer at The Atlantic. Calling her a contributing writer, it automatically creates the assumption that she contributes. Based on my research, The Atlantic appears to be another in a long line of no-show jobs for Jemele Hill, where she contributes absolutely nothing, but she still gets paid. Here on the channel, we call that woke welfare. We are 5 months into 2025. 5 months! And contributing writer Jemele Hill has contributed a grand total of 2 articles to The Atlantic. 2 articles in 150 days. Now, if you multiply 150 times 2, it gives you the average number of video views on Jemele Hill's shitty podcast. For reasons unknown, CNN contracted the services of Smelly Jemele to investigate the edict that Bob Iger recently gave to the Yentas on The View. Now, I refer to Bob Iger as Bob or maybe even Bobby, but the Yentas, they refer to Bob Iger as Boss. Recently, the boss told the ladies to fire pretend Dr. Jill Biden and find a physician that could properly treat their severe case of stage 4 OMB. Orange Man bad! He told them to quit obsessing over the Trumper, focus on their areas of expertise. He wanted the ladies to focus on topics like Botox or the nutrition plan that the Whoopi cushion follows to manufacture her powerful brand of Boodle Breeze. For some reason, CNN wanted Jemele Hill to provide some insight into the situation. The only reason I can think of that CNN would feature Jemele Hill is because she was fired by ESPN when Bob Iger was the CEO of Disney. I know for damn sure CNN wasn't featuring Jemele Hill to draw ratings. Smelly Jemele couldn't draw ratings if she was handed a pen and a piece of paper. Once again, the analysis provided by Jemele Hill was just a bit outside. According to Smelly, the Trumper is influencing the creative direction of major media companies. Here on the channel, we call that a lie. The Trumper isn't influencing decisions at ABC. The audience is. Clearly, Jemele Hill did not receive the message that was delivered back in November. America rejected the woke fungus. If you don't believe me, go look at the ratings at MSNBC, or look at the ratings at the network that you were featured on, which is barely clinging to life support. When Bob Iger recently met with the Yentas, he told them that the most watched segments were segments where they were not talking about the Trumper. Maybe the ladies were admiring the truth of Shakira's hips, which don't lie. Maybe they were talking about that disastrous halftime show at the Super Bowl where Ken Lamar sedated over 100 million people. Hell, maybe their most watched segment was the Whoopi cushion entertaining the audience by cranking her leg and releasing Boodle Breeze that was so powerful it blew the toupee off Joy Behar's supersized head. I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is, like the rest of the country, Bob Iger is tired of the Yentas complaining about the Trumper. Now, with their boss demanding that they tone down the political rhetoric, you would think the ladies would acquiesce to his demands. Instead, Big Red Joy Behar makes another failed attempt at comedy with a joke that was so asinine, it shocked the lonely women in The View's audience. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Let's get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Praetorian Consulting. Over the last 4 years with Johnny B. Biden, we were living under this regime that wanted us completely reliant on the government, when the reality is, we should be as self-reliant and autonomous as possible. I'm sure you guys have heard that saying, when seconds count, the police are minutes away. The police are a reactionary force, which means the safety of your family, it is in your hands when it matters most. Same is true for emergency situations like car accidents. You got to be prepared, and that's where Praetorian Consulting steps in. Praetorian Consulting offers a full suite of emergency planning services and tailor-made packages designed to meet any concerns in your life. Whether it's protecting your digital privacy on your phone and computer, or medical emergencies at home or on the road, home defense, communication, Praetorian Consulting offers the products and the expertise that will have you relying on yourself when you need to rely on yourself the most. Daniel, the owner of Praetorian Consulting, he's a former Marine who has spent his entire career identifying and mitigating risk. He knows what he is talking about. So click the link in the description below. Become self-reliant with Praetorian Consulting today. Apparently, there is some truth to Bob Iger's argument. Through the first quarter of the year, The View was averaging 2.6 million viewers. How? I have no idea. It is truly mind-boggling how anyone could subject themselves to this toxic garbage. I think I told you guys the other day, I've been watching that Mormon housewife show on Hulu with my wife. The women on that show are an unmitigated disaster. They're a man's worst nightmare. I'm convinced that my wife hate watches the show because she's yelling at the TV throughout every episode. But as detestable as the ladies on that show are, at least they're entertaining. Don't get me wrong, it's classic garbage, but at least it's entertaining garbage. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, entertaining about The View. The show has become so predictable. The whoopee cushion will open the show complaining about something that the Trumper did or said. Every once in a while, Alyssa the Farrah Griffin will try to save her job by attempting to be the voice of reason. My personal favorite Yenta, Asuncion. She'll start shouting or she will become emotional. They'll start arguing back and forth, and the whoopee cushion will eventually lose her patience and shut everyone up by releasing toxic gas. Rinse and repeat. As unentertaining as it is, for some reason, 2.6 million lonely women were watching throughout the first 3 months of the year. However, it appears that 300,000 lonely women got tired of the constant Trump bashing. Either that or some miracle occurred and they found 300,000 men willing to date them. Either way, The View has lost 300,000 viewers, which is probably why Bob Iger told them to get over their obsession with the Trumper. Unfortunately, though, for Bob Iger, the Yentas did not listen. I know. Shocker. Earlier this week, the ladies were once again talking about their obsession with the toxically masculine orange man. Big Red Joy Behar, she seemed to be sending out a woke mating call. She was looking for a man who was willing to give her CPR, or maybe it was the Heimlich maneuver. It was a weird request because I thought Big Red was married to some dude named Stevie. You would think she would ask him for assistance, but I guess he is still following the advice of Aunt Fauci and keeping a distance of 6 feet away from the Yentas. Probably good advice. With Stevie unwilling to get up close and personal with Big Red, she decided to ask the audience for assistance. Hey ladies, it's me, Joy B. Would any of your husbands be willing to give me CPR? I just brushed my tooth. I'm smelling fresher than the daisies in Rose O'Donnell's garden. Who's willing to give me some sugar? Obviously, Joy Behar is sending this request to the wrong audience. Most of the lonely women watching The View, they haven't seen a man in decades. But there was a caveat to her request. The caveat was somewhat surprising because The View is supposedly dedicated to inclusion. Potential applicants willing to give Joy Behar the Heimlich maneuver, they need not apply if they support the Trumper. Fortunately for Joy Behar, I highly doubt supporters of Donald Trump would be interested in her request to begin with. Now, keep in mind, this is supposed to be funny. This is what Joy Behar calls comedy. Watch for yourself.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't even let him give me a Heimlich maneuver.
Yeah.
That's how little I feel about people. I don't know.
Well, and a MAGA supporter is like
calling you right
that's-
now.
I got it.
Somebody's
I fixed it.
tell that MAGA man, leave you alone.
I'm not sleeping with you anymore.
Oh, Joy! With Trump supporters disqualified from applying for this position, Joy Behar narrowed her choices down to less than half the country. Once you exclude identifiers who identify as they, them, along with @ and ++ identifiers, Joy Behar had narrowed her choices down to approximately 30% of the population. To make matters worse, she had to find someone who was actually interested in getting this close and personal with an 82-year-old woman, not to mention the potential liability involved. I have never given the Heimlich maneuver before, but it seems like it's very physical. People in their 80s, they're not exactly known for their ability to tolerate physical activity without causing injury. I contacted my inside sources. I asked them how many people applied for this position. I'm sure you guys will be surprised to know no one applied. You know, shows like The View or that Mormon Housewives show I was talking about on Hulu, The Bearded Housewives of San Francisco, those shows really are a disservice to women because it creates this perception that all women are like this. All women are like the ladies on The View. And I can assure you, that is not the case. The problem is, the vast majority of people who are watching these shows are women. They're supporting shows that encourage a negative perception of them. Anyway, give me your thoughts on this. The Yentas continue talking about the Trumper even though they have been told not to. Joy Behar claims that she would not let a Trump supporter, I guess, save her life. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.